has China in recent months made a specific request to Australian officials to approve its extension to the CPTPP? And what has the response been from the Australian side? Have officials indicated that they are willing to contemplate this, or have they indicated that it is a non-starter for Australia?
Well, thanks, Stephen. This is a very good question. You know, we've been applying for entry into CPTPP for quite some time, and we hope that we can first start to have a working level discussion with Australian relevant departments on China's entry. Now the thing is, even the set up a working group to talk about the Chinese entry itself has not been agreed upon from the Australian side. So let alone to talk about the details. What I can share with you at this moment is that we are ready anytime to set up the working group with Australian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade and to talk about China's entry, and we will be able to share our views and also to listen to views from the Australian side. What are your concerns? What is your requirement or whatsoever, and what China can do? Let's work together and to find a common ground where we can satisfy both sides. We can sort out those issues so that China could be a member that we contribute to not only to our bilateral but also to the CPTPP members' economic and trade prosperity. Well, thanks for that question. The question of Taiwan is always a critical and very sensitive issue among China's relations with many other countries, including our relation with Australia. Taiwan is a part of China, and there's only one China, and that is the status quo. The policy of the Chinese government on the question of Taiwan is peaceful reunification and one country, two system. And if you look at our statements from the Chinese government, if you look at the anti-secession law passed by the National People's Congress, it's all there. The policy is unification, is peaceful reunification. And we only keep option in a very short paragraph because we want to stop those who are trying to stop the unification of China. And secondly, I think it's always important for us to remember that Taiwan has already been part of China. It's never been a sovereign state. And unfortunately, some of the countries in the world are trying to mislead the world, mislead the public, including some of the politicians and scholars trying to mislead the Australian public, trying to say that Taiwan is a state, is a sovereign state, and China's efforts is to annex or take over by force a sovereign state. Absolutely unfounded. That's against the basic knowledge, the basic facts of history. It's 1 billion people, Chinese people, are looking eagerly to see complete reunification of our motherland, including for Taiwan to come back to the motherland. That is the determination. It's never to be challenged. We will make our utmost efforts for a peaceful reunification. But at the same time, it's difficult for us to say we will be able to rule out any other options, because the fact is that there are forces both within Taiwan and internationally who are trying to separate Taiwan permanently from China. And I want to also say a few words on this so-called status quo. What is the status quo? Across Taiwan Strait, both sides belong to one China. That's the status quo. And now the situation that the Taiwan island is under the jurisdiction of the regime in Taiwan is a temporary phenomenon. It's a byproduct of the civil war between the Communist Party of China and the Nationalist Party of China. And these two parties used to cooperate together. They used to join the same government. So the thing is, Taiwan is part of China, and eventually they will come back to the motherland. I hope that our Australian government would really stick to the One China policy, not only in words but also in deed. I also look forward to our Australian friends and other international community who have diplomatic relations with China, that they will not only stick to the One China policy but also to support China's unification. If you talk about supporting a peaceful unification, I would say that thanks for your kindness. I appreciate that. Yeah, we want to have a peaceful unification, but emphasizing on peace without talking about the unification is sending wrong message to some people within Taiwan and outside that somebody is trying to keep the so-called status quo and keep the division situation between China, the mainland, and Taiwan forever. That is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
Okay, the last one. Okay.
Last one.
Okay.
It's Karen Barlow from the Canada Times. We know China's made, has criticised the decision to remove Chinese-made surveillance devices from the government departments, and Australia's not alone. It's followed other countries. Have you made representations to the government about this? There's also concerns about drone technology and the like.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch your first part. What is it?
Sorry, Crony. China has criticised the Australian government decision to remove Chinese-made surveillance devices from government departments. There's also drone devices that are concerned about. Have you made representations to the Australian government about this?
Yes, we have. Thanks for the question. That's some of the other examples there's been obstacles to the normal kind of trade relations between China and Australia. Like TikTok, it's just a public platform for amusement, and somebody in the United States and several other countries are trying to say that this is a dangerous platform, and the Chinese side is trying to utilize this to gather so-called data information, which is absolutely not true. And WeChat is very popular in China and among the Chinese overseas, including myself. I'm a regular user of WeChat. I almost stopped using conventional cell phone or even the, light phones. WeChat is so popularly used. It's just another kind of platform with modern technology, help people to communicate in a much easier way. And also the CCTV camera, it's a product. It's nothing's in secret. It's just a object for people to monitor. And the Chinese side has no. Once it's sold, everything is in your hand. It's very unfortunate. There are views that these either TikTok or WeChat or even CCTV camera could be utilized by the Chinese government to monitor Australia. It's absolutely unfounded. Such a speculation is absolutely unnecessary, very unhelpful. I hope that the government in Australia would really look at all these issues in an objective way, and we need confidence from both sides. We are strategic, we are comprehensive strategic partners. We have basic trust with each other, and China is also importing products from Australia. We are also exploring new frontiers to cooperate with Australia. A confidence, a normal kind of trade relations, an environment for a business environment in this country that will be open, transparent, inclusive, will be very helpful for Australia to encourage international travel, international businessmen to come and invest and do business with this country. I think eventually, I think things will turn out that between China and Australia, we can trust each other, we can cooperate with absolute confidence. Thank you.
One more question.
Last one. All right, last one. Last one.
Ambassador, could you please tell me how do you believe in Australia and China they can re-establish their political trust talking about matters of trade or whatever. I think as a political trust, it's very, very narrow. Right? So how do you see from that?
Well, thanks for that question. It's a little bit sensitive. Of course, whether or not China will trust Australia is for Chinese side to decide. And I could tell you that China trusts Australia. We have confidence. That's why we are calling Australia our comprehensive strategic partnership. When we cooperate with Australia, we have an open heart. We have a big heart. We are ready to cooperate in whichever form, in whichever areas, at various levels. And secondly, it's up to the Australian colleagues to make their own decisions whether or not they should trust China. I hope that based on history, based on the current relationship, based on the future opportunities, our friends in Australia would indeed cherish a relationship with mutual trust. And we have differences in many aspects. Doesn't mean we can't trust each other. There are so many things in common. There are differences, but in my views, the common ground between China and Australia much more overwhelms the differences. So there's a reason for me to be optimistic that step by step we will build up again our mutual trust. Step by step we will improve our relationship, and step by step we will put our relationship completely back to the right track and back to normal. That's going to be serving the basic interest of our two countries and two people. Well, colleagues, thanks for your patience. That's for the briefing part, and they will be followed by, let's say, about 1 hour of buffet, and we have time to further to communicate with each other. Thank you so much.